one of the things that Wichita has struggled with for a long time, and there's been recent studies and stuff, is perception of our city. And the biggest perception issues are not from people from the outside or people that have transplanted here, it's people that have grown up here. And it's always been this mentality of there's nothing to do in Wichita, or, you know, and quite honestly, like, I can't even tell you how many times I've heard Wichita sucks. And like, it's always, for people being raised here, you know, it was either your aim was to go to a bigger, better city, or you got stuck in Wichita, you know? So it's kind of always been that mindset, and, you know, we're trying to change that perception. For the spring 2016 phase, the theme was Peace, Love, Art, and we had 15 different artist groups or individuals for murals, and they have only 2 days to complete all the murals. And then on Sunday, we invite the entire community to come out, see all the completed murals, participate, and encourage them to walk the district in an area that they may or may not, you know, have ever noticed before. I would say over those 3 days, by the time you take in, you know, all the different volunteers and artists and organizations that participated, we're looking at easily over 400 different individuals that all participated. Every one of the murals is on private property, and therefore getting every single different property owner the permission. And you know, when the first phase, they're like, you want me to approve you to come in and graffiti? Like, you know, it was a really hard thing, because while street art is definitely happening like internationally, like become huge, it's definitely not something that has ever been embraced in Wichita. We did like a fence around a dumpster this time. So taking something that is otherwise an eyesore and that you know, is otherwise unattractive and that you don't even see, and making it beautiful in something that's like opens your eyes and like, wow, how cool is that? On Friday we had rain, which it was so nerve-wracking. We're like, what do we do? There's so many moving parts to this. There's not an opportunity to try and reschedule and, like, you know, be able to pull this off. So we were like, we're just going to do as much as we can and hope the weather cooperates. And so we got there Friday morning and it's raining, and yet every one of the artists still showed up. And they were working in the rain as much as they could. They were setting up tents to try and cover and dry. It was crazy.
Kansas instinct just kind of kicked in. You know, we saw the sky just kind of turned green. It got really dark real quickly, and that was like our cue, like, get the hell out. So we started packing everything really quick, and we barely get to put everything in the cars by the time like the storm just like, you know, came down. So if anything, it's just like, you know when you're from Kansas, you know when you need to get out.
Next thing I know, the storm passes through, and we're now into the evening, and I'm driving along Douglas, and those artists had all gotten right back out there, and we're back to work.
At this point, I guess the Army of Artists has a reputation of doing challenging projects. The people from Avenue Art Days got permission from the local government to paint the pillars underneath the I-135 highway overpass on Douglas. So it was a pretty big project, and they kind of had us in mind to be the group that could get it done. Since we're a collective, you know, there's several of us that work together. So we brought it over to the team and we talked about it, and everyone was really excited, and everyone felt that we had the capacity and the ability to get it done. So we decided to do it. That part of town is kind of just a big old concrete jungle. There's not a lot of color. And pretty industrial. So we thought that it would be good to splash it with some color, and we ended up focusing on the bike trail that runs underneath the highway across Douglas there. So we painted all the pillars. The idea, sort of the inspiration, I should say, for the pillars and the images that you see there were all based on ancient images from native cultures of the Americas, really the entire continent. So we were looking at ancient cultures from, you know, from the Aztec, communities in Mexico, the Mayan, images from Central and South America. We looked at different tribes here in North America and sort of combine them all together. We all arrived at the concept of having like this monolithic figures that were sort of merging out of the pillars. You know, they've been there the whole time, and then now they're finally being released, right? So, you know, this would be kind of like the guardians of downtown. I don't know exactly what was gonna happen. That allowed us to kind of divide the work into teams. You know, so someone was doing outlining, someone was filling in, someone was doing shadows, someone was doing more detailed work.
Got this many people out here, you're just going to have a ton of collaborative effort and energy where people, you know, constantly, like, well, so many of these designs started as very, very simple line drawings, and you end up people going like, man, you know, it would look really good in that space, you know what texture would be great here.
We felt like we could have used an extra day, right, to do even more detail. You know, it felt that some of the pieces were perhaps simplified, but we definitely felt that an extra day would have given us an opportunity to add even more detail, to make it more of an impact.
Kind of gives you a good feeling just seeing the art, and it helps bring people together, and you know, it's something great for the community. It used to be gloomy and dull down here, and with all the murals going up, there's something for everybody to see everywhere you go down here.
Well, we just wanted to make sure that whatever went up was somehow, you know, copacetic with our cause and the message that we're trying to get across for the Alzheimer's Association. And so Brick Mom came up with the idea of the brain and called the mural Layers then, which is kind of an expansion of the center brain. And it was perfect in our kind of wanting to raise awareness about brain health and the disease.
Talked about two crucial members of the Douglas Design District that they lost their lives, and so it was kind of, they're wanting to pay respect to the lives that were lost, and then also to promote a message of hope, to rise above the impacts, and to kind of really bring the community together so that collectively we could rise above this, the different impacts that these lost lives really made, and it had a ripple effect. I was kind of planning with them for a number of weeks in terms of how to really collaborate. So basically what that looked like was going into the community and networking with organizations that serve different impacts of violence.
One of the best aspects of this event has been all of the other support organizations that have been within close proximity. So people wanting to find out what kind of resources are available in town, they've got this meeting space.
A community can't really rise above the impacts of violence unless they work together. So there's that part of it. And then also the impacts of using art and creative expression as a means of healing. There's obstacles and there's definite things that can impact a community, the more of the shadow aspects. You know, it's like we want to create some things that are a positive draw for Wichita.
We had a tweet yesterday that somebody was driving down the street and saw what we were doing, and they were just like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of Wichita. And hearing something like that, just, it affirms everything we're doing.
So now every day I like go out of my way to make sure and drive along that stretch and see it and, you know, like kind of tick them off as I go, like, oh, and there's one, you know, and like it's fun, and I hope other people do too. Besides
that kind of first-hand kind of economic impact that it could have in downtown by making it look prettier, it's also bringing community together. And community pride, I think, is the most important thing. Again, that people feel proud of their city, people feel that they want to stay here, that they want to continue to live here, and that it's a cool place, right? That we don't have to be Kansas City, we don't have to be Austin, we don't have to try to be like New York, because those places have their own identities. So this kind of work, public work, it's furthering our efforts in defining Wichita's own identity. What is Wichita? What does Wichita look like? Well, we get to be a part of that, and the community gets to be a part of defining that as well. You can wait for someone to you know, make this place, you know, a cooler place. But if you don't do it yourself, you're gonna wait forever and it's never gonna happen. So if there's something that you want to see in the city that you feel like the city needs, then do it, you know? When I first moved here 3 years ago, there were some people that would tell me, but why Wichita? I mean, there's like nothing in Wichita. But then I'm like, exactly, like, so that means that anything is possible. I mean, anything you can imagine can happen here. So do it.